The morning light filtered through the curtains, casting a soft glow in the bedroom. You stood at the door, frozen in place, your hand gripping the handle of the coffee cup. Jungkook had just finished showering, his damp hair clinging to his forehead as he toweled right his body. His sculptured muscles flexed with every movement, and your eyes were drawn to his toned six-pack and broad shoulders, who looked like he belonged to in a magazine, perfect, handsome, untouchable. You couldn't help but stare. His cool, unapproachable personality only made him more attractive. You wondered how someone could be this good-looking yet so distant. You were lost in your thoughts, admiring him, when suddenly he snapped his fingers. "Ryan!" His deep voice brought you back to reality. He raised an eyebrow, his dark eyes locking with yours. "What are you looking at?" You blinked, startled, and quickly shook your head. Nothing. I brought your coffee." He glanced at the cup in your hand, then at you, his expression as indifferent as always. "Put it on the table." You nodded and stepped into the room, placing the cup on the side table. As you turned to leave, you couldn't resist stealing one last glance at him. He was already fixing his shirt, his focus no longer on you. You sighed quietly, feeling a strange mix of admiration and frustration. What a physique, what a personality. How could he be so perfect, yet so cold? You went downstairs to the kitchen and began setting the table for breakfast. The clinking of plates and cups filled the room, but your mind was elsewhere. You kept thinking about Jungkook, about how handsome he was, about how he never showed his emotions. You knew he cared in his own way, but sometimes you wished he would be more open with you, show you a bit of affection, even just a small smile. As you arranged the silverware, you heard the sound of footsteps coming downstairs. You looked up, and there he was again, dressed in a crisp white shirt and black pants. His hair is still slightly damp. He was fixing his wristwatch, his jaw clenched in concentration. And once again you found yourself mesmerized. He looked so effortlessly handsome, like he didn't even have to try. Your heart skipped a beat as you watched him, completely lost in himself. He's so perfect. You thought to yourself, how did I end up married to someone like him? Jungkook glanced up, catching you staring again. His brow furrowed slightly, but he said nothing. Instead, he walked over to the table, checking the time on his watch, as if he was hurried. "Are you going somewhere?" you asked, hoping to spark a conversation. "Work," he replied simply, not offering any more details. You nodded, trying to hide your disappointment. Of course, he was going to work. That's what he always did. Work, come home, barely talk, then repeat the cycle. You longed for more, but it felt like you were always walking on eggshells around him, afraid to push too hard. As you said the last plate, you couldn't help but sigh again, this time louder. Jungkook looked at you, his eyes narrowing slightly. "What's with the sighing?" he asked, his tone colder than usual. You shrugged, trying to play it off. "Nothing." He quietly served breakfast onto his plate, then onto yours. Jungkook, as always, remained focused on his food, eating slowly, his eyes never meeting yours. You were expecting him to say something about what had just happened at the door, anything at all. But he said nothing. His entire focus was on his meal. You watched him from across the table, hoping for a glance or a word, but he continued to eat, his expression unreadable. You cleared your throat softly, decided to break the silence. "So, Jungkook, what are your plans for today?" He barely looked up as you replied, his voice flat. "Nothing. There is a deal to finish." You bit your lip. The conversation wasn't going the way you hoped. Trying to set her in a different direction, you smiled slightly and said, "Not work. I mean something special." This time he paused for a moment, looking at you with a hint of confusion. What would be special other than work? Before you could answer, Jungkook stood up from the table, pushing his chair back with a scrape. "I'll be late if I don't leave now," he said, fixing his watch again. Without another word, he grabbed his coat and headed for the door. You watched him go, your heart sinking as the door clicked shut behind him. The brief conversation left you feeling hollow, like you were constantly chasing after something you could never quite reach. He was always like cold, distant, his mind always at work. But that moment earlier, when he would pull you close and spoken so possessively at the door, it was different. For the first time, it had felt like he cared, but now it was. With a sad pout, you returned to your breakfast, you poked at your food, your appetite gone, thoughts swirling in your mind. Why couldn't he just open up? Why was everything always about work with him? Suddenly your phone buzzed with a notification pulling you out of your thoughts. You picked it up and glanced at the screen, frowning in confusion. Something felt off. The notification was from one of your social media posts, but before you could check it, your phone rang. It was your best friend Meena. You answered the call, pressing the phone to your ear. Hey Meena. Ryan. Meena's voice was exciting, but there was an itch of mischief in it. Have you checked your recent post? You raised an eyebrow, still feeling a bit down from the morning. Yeah, of course, I posted it, didn't I? Meena let out an exaggerated groan. You idiot, check the recent comment. You haven't seen it, have you? You paused, now curious. A recent comment? Yes, go check it right now. Meena urged, her voice bubbling with urgency. You're gonna lose it. With a frown, you quickly open your social media app and scroll to your latest post, a casual selfie you would take a few days ago. Everything seemed normal until your eyes caught the latest comment. Looking beautiful princess, your heart stopped for a moment as you stared at the screen. You blinked, your mind racing. Princess, there was only one person who ever called you that. Sojun, you whispered, wide-eyed. Mina's laughter echoed through the phone. Yes, your ex-boyfriend Sojun. Can you believe it? Your mouth dropped open in shock. It had been so long since you last spoke to Sojun. You never expected him to pop up back into your life, especially not like this. Casually commenting on your post as if nothing had cut. Why is he calling me princess on my post? You said, still stunned. You could hardly believe it was happening. All of the people to comment, Sojun was the last person you expected. Meena chuckled clearly, enjoying your reaction. Maybe he is trying to win you back. I mean, that's a pretty bold move. You stared at the comment from Sojun, frustration bubbling inside you. How could he just casually compliment you like that, knowing you were married? With a deep sigh, you put your phone back to your ear, Meena still waiting on the other end. Meena, how could Sojun comment like that? I'm married now, you exclaimed, pacing around the living room. Meena's voice was calm but understanding. Wine, he probably doesn't know your marriage happened so suddenly and you didn't invite any of our friends at the wedding. It's not like you made a big announcement about it. You frowned, knowing she was right. Yeah, but still we are done, Meena. What we had is in the past. He shouldn't be commenting like that anymore. I get it, Meena said, but are you worried about Jungkook finding out? You hesitated, feeling a twinge of anxiety. No, I mean, why would he even care? It's not like he likes me. Meena's teasing tone softened. Why? Don't say that, you're his wife. You shook your head, walking over to the window as you spoke. You know how it is, Meena? Our marriage was complicated. Jungkook didn't want to marry me. He did it because my parents needed help. Remember, my parents thought Daniel was perfect, but they didn't know he was a fraud, already married twice. Yeah, I remember, Meena said quietly. Daniel was a disaster waiting to happen. You nodded, your heart heavy as you continued. If Jungkook hadn't interfered and told the truth about Daniel, my life would have been ruined. My parents were desperate, and since both our families are close, Jungkook married me to save my reputation. But he doesn't care about marriage. He's been distant and cold ever since. It's been 2 months and nothing's changed. Mina was silent for a moment, then asked gently, But does he love you? Do you think there is a chance? You let out a small, sad laugh. I don't know, Mina. He never shows it if he does, but you paused, your voice softening as you spoke from your heart. I love him. Mina gasped. Wait, you do? You never told me that. You smiled faintly, sitting down on the couch. He's a nice guy, Mina. He respects me. He's kind in his own way. I just wish he would express it. You know, I have been waiting for him to say on a small date, give me a little gift, just something to show he cares me, but he's always cold and distant. It's like he locked his emotions away. Ryan? Mina's voice was filled with sympathy. That sounds hard, but maybe he is just bad at showing his feelings.
Maybe, you murmur, but sometimes it feels like he doesn't even notice me. I'm sure he doesn't even know my Instagram account, and even if he did, he probably wouldn't care about Sojin's comment. He's too focused on work to bother with stuff like that. Mina said on the other end of the line, "Don't worry, Van, everything will be alright, just give him time. Maybe he's still figuring out how to be a husband." You gave a small nod, though you weren't sure if Mina could feel your uncertainty. Yeah, maybe.
Okay, I have got to run, Mina said, her voice cheerful again. But don't stress too much, and definitely don't let surgeons come and get to you. All right, I will deal with it, you replied, though your mind was still clouded with thoughts of Jungkook. Talk later, Mina. Bye, Van. Stay strong, Mina chirped before hanging up. He put the phone down and sighed deeply, feeling a mix of emotions. You stood up and made your way to the kitchen, absent-mindedly gathered your plate and taking into the sink. As you placed it down, you didn't notice the soft sound of footsteps behind you. Unknowingly, Jungkook had come into the house to grab his keys, and he had overheard most of your conversation with Mina. He stood silently near the doorway, his expression unreadable as he processed what he had just heard. He hadn't expected to. For a moment, Jungkook felt something stir in his chest. He didn't realize how much his coldness was affecting you. He knew he was distant, but hearing you talk about waiting for sweet words, small dates, and gifts, it hit him in a way he hadn't expected. Jungkook stood there, his hand gripping the keys in his pocket. He had always been focused on work, avoiding emotions and the complexities of marriage, but now he couldn't shake the feeling that he had been neglecting you. Without making a sound, Jungkook turned and left the house, his mind racing. He didn't know what to do with the new knowledge that you loved him. It wasn't something he had ever expected to hear. Meanwhile, in the kitchen, you sighed again, completely unaware of Jungkook's presence. You rinsed the plate and set it aside, trying to push away the thoughts swirling. In your mind, you wished things were different, that Jungkook would notice you, that he would care about you the way you cared about him, but you couldn't change him no matter how much you loved him. As you wiped your hands on the towel, you whispered softly to yourself, I just wish he would open just a little. And outside, as Jungkook sat in his car, he couldn't stop thinking about your words, wondering if he would been wrong to keep his distance for so long. Jungkook leaned back in his office chair, his mind swirling with thoughts of you. He had always been good at controlling his emotions, at keeping a distance, but after overhearing your conversations with Mina, he couldn't shake the feeling that were now rising to the surface. I don't know about him, but I love him. Your words echoed in his mind. He hadn't realized the depth of your feelings. With a sigh, he unlocked his phone and opened Instagram. Hesitating for a moment, he typed in your username. He had been following you for a while, secretly, of course. He never liked or commented on your posts, but he saw everything, every smile, every moment you captured. He admired you quietly. He scrolled to your recent post, a picture of you looking beautiful as always. His eyes immediately went to the comment section, and there it was, Surgeon's comment, looking beautiful princess. Jungkook's jaw clenched, his veins tightened, his blood boiling with anger. How dare Surgeon, your ex-wife, can comment like that? He felt a surge of possessiveness he hadn't felt before. You were his wife. No one else had the right to call you princess but him. As the anger bubbled inside him, your words played again in his mind. He doesn't like me, he's cold, he doesn't care. Jungkook squeezed the phone in his hand, guilt rising up. Was that how you saw him? Suddenly, a knock on his desk snapped him back to reality. He looked up, startled to see his secretary and longtime friend Shane standing in front of him. She raised an eyebrow at him, clearly noticing his distracted state. Jungkook, what's going on? Shane asked, leaning against his desk. You have got a meeting in 5 minutes, and you're just sitting here staring at your phone. Jungkook blinked, trying to shake off the frustration, but then something unusual slipped from his lips before he could stop himself. How do I impress my wife? Shane's eyes widened in surprise. She had known Jungkook for years, and she had never heard him talk like this. A slow teasing smile spread across her face. So you're finally realizing that you have a wife, huh? She said, chuckling. Jungkook shot her a glare. Don't test my patience. Shane, just help me. Shane laughed lightly, pushing off the desk and folding her arms. Relax, Jungkook, I'm just teasing. It's just surprising. You have been married for 2 months and I thought you were still in your I don't care phase. Jungkook ran a hand through his hair, his frustration still simmering. I wasn't, but he sighed, rubbing his temples. She loves me. I overheard her saying it, but I have been cold. I have kept my distance and I don't know how to fix it. Shane's playful expression softened as she saw the seriousness in his eyes. She could tell this was bothering him more than anything else had in a long time. She sat down in the chair opposite him, thinking for a moment. Okay, first of all, I'm happy to hear you want to fix things with wine. Shane said gently, but you can't just fix emotions, Jungkook. You have to show her that you care little by little. Start with something small, maybe a gift, or take her out for dinner. Spend time with her. Show her that she is important. Jungkook looked at her, considering her words. But I have never done that before. What if it's too late? Shane shook her head. It's not too late. She loves you, right? That means she's waiting for you to make a move. You just need to step on, show her that you are in the marriage with her, not just existing next to her. He nodded slowly, feeling the weight of her words. Shane made it sound simple, but for Jungkook, showing emotions was the hardest thing. He had always been guarded, always focused on work and responsibilities. But now, for the first time, alright, so what should I do? He asked, leaning forward. Where do I start? She smiled, pleased to see him so determined. Start by acknowledging her feelings. When you get home today, talk to her, ask her how she's been feeling, and for her heaven's sake, give her a compliment, Jungkook. Let her know you see her. He said, rubbing the back of his neck. Compliments, right? I can do that. And after that, Shane continued. Maybe take her out on a date, something simple but thoughtful. You don't have to go all out, just make it about her. Jungkook stood up, grabbing his jacket as the determination settled in. Thanks, Shane. I appreciate the help. Shane grinned, watching him with amusement. Anytime, Jungkook. I'm happy to see you finally joining the Family Man Club. Jungkook rolled his eyes but smiled slightly. He didn't know if he would be good at this, but for you, he was willing to try. As he walked out of the office, one thought echoed in his mind. I'm going to make this right. That evening, when Jungkook arrived home, the house was quiet and the scent of freshly cooked dinner still lingered in the air. He walked into the kitchen where you were standing at the sink washing the last few dishes. You were humming softly to yourself, lost in thought when you noticed him. Jungkook, you're home early? He said, surprised to see him. He looked at you, a soft smile tugging at the corner of his lips. Yeah, I thought I would come back early today. He glanced at the dishes. Do you need any help? You blinked even more surprised now. Jungkook never offered to help with household chores. No, I'm almost done, but thanks. Actually, Jungkook said, stepping forward, put those down. I will manage. Your eyes widened in confusion as he gently took the dishcloth from your hands. Wait, what? Are you sure? Yes, I'm sure, he said with a slight chuckle. Just go and get ready. We are going out. Going out? He repeated, blinking at him in confusion. Yes, fine, he said firmly, his tone leaving no room for argument. He stood there for a moment, trying to process what was happening. Jungkook had never been one to suggest going out, especially not spontaneously. Seeing the confused look on your face, he gently placed his hands on your shoulders and gave you a light push towards the door. Go on, get dressed. Still in shock, you made your way upstairs, wondering what had gotten into him. When you stepped into your bedroom, your heart skipped a beat. There, lying on the bed, was a beautiful red dress. It shimmered under the light embroidered with delicate diamond-like patterns. Your eyes were drawn to a small note placed next to it. You picked it up, your heart racing as you read. Please wear it for me. Your husband, Jungkook. You felt your cheeks flush as a wave of warmth spread through your chest. Jungkook had never done anything like this before. Excitement bubbled inside you as you quickly changed into the dress, the soft fabric hugging your figure perfectly. As you stood in front of the mirror, you couldn't help but smile. He chose this for me. A few minutes later, you descended the stairs, your heart pounding with anticipation. Jungkook was waiting for you in the living room, and the moment he saw you, his eyes widened in awe. "Wow," he whispered, unable to take his eyes off you. You look breathtaking. You felt your heart race even faster, his compliment filling you with warmth. "Thank you," you said softly, smiling up at him. Jungkook took a step closer, his gaze never leaving yours. "Let's go," he said, offering you his hand. You nodded, taking his hand as he led you to the car. The drive was peaceful, the soft hum of the engine filling the silence as you both soaked in the rare moment. You drove to a nearby beach where the cool breeze brushed against your skin as you stepped out of the car. You would stand by what you saw next. A small, intimate setup was waiting for you by the shore, a table for two lit with soft candlelight, the waves gently crashing against the sand in the background. It felt like something out of a dream. Jungkook turned to you, a small smile playing on his lips. "I thought it was time to do something special for you." You stared at him, your heart swelling with emotion. "Jungkook, this is beautiful. I don't even know what to say." "You don't have to say anything," he said softly, taking your hands as he led you to the table. "Tonight, it's all about you." The two of you sat down, and for the first time in a long time, it felt like you were connecting in a way that went beyond words. As you enjoyed your meal, Jungkook opened up, telling you how much he appreciated you and how guilty. "I know I have been cold," he admitted, his eyes softening as he looked at you, "but I'm trying wine. I want you to know that I love you more than I ever shown." Tears welled up in your eyes as you listened to him. "I have always known you were a good person, Jungkook. I love you too," he said, reaching out to hold his hand. "I just wanted you to show it sometimes." "I will," he promised, squeezing your hand gently. "From now on, I will." After dinner, you both took a walk along the beach, the stars twinkling above as the waves lapped at your feet. It felt surreal, like you were in a movie. Jungkook was finally opening up, and you felt closer to him than ever before. Later that night, when you returned home, you decided to capture the memory. You posted a picture of you and Jungkook on Instagram, both of you smiling happily with the caption, "A night to remember." Moments later, your phone buzzed with a notification. You opened Instagram and saw that Sojun had commented again. "Looking good, princess." Your eyes widened. "Not again." But before you could react, Jungkook snatched the phone from your hand, his face darkening. "This ends now," he muttered. Without hesitation, he opened your contacts and made a video call to Sojun. You watched in shock as the screen connected and Sojun's face appeared. Before Sojun could say a word, Jungkook pulled you close, wrapping his arm around your waist and pressed a firm kiss to your lips. When he pulled away, he looked straight into the camera. "She is my princess," Jungkook said, his voice low and dangerous, "and only I have the right to call her that. If you ever comment again, I will make sure you can't type anything for a long time." Sojun's eyes widened in fear, his face paling. I didn't mean." Jungkook ended the call before he could finish, tossing the phone onto the couch. He stood there staring at him in shock. "Jungkook, I have never seen you like that." He turned to you, a small smirk tugging at his lips. "Well, now you know." You couldn't help but smile, feeling a strange warmth spread through you. You reached up and pinched his cheek playfully. "I like your possessiveness, boss." He chuckled, pulling you into his arms. "Good, because I'm never letting you go." You both laughed, and for the first time in a long time, everything felt perfect. Thank you for watching.